Hey, this is Chad with Any and All Trailer Repair. Hey, we're here to talk about grease breaks and how to prevent them from happening because it's way too common. And it's just our money that we're just throwing it away just because we're trying to do preventative maintenance. And in the end, we're costing ourselves money and we're making our trailers more dangerous on the roads because we don't have proper brakes because we put them on slip and slides. So the down and dirty, let's get into this. Okay, this is the easy loop system. Here's a spindle, here's a zert, here's the cross hole where the grease comes out. So when you apply a grease gun, it goes through the center of the spindle and it comes out this hole. Now, you'd say, well, the manufacturer designed it that way, it must work. It actually does work, but nobody reads the manual. In the operation manual for the axle, it says that you're supposed to drive the trailer, get it up to operating temperature, come back, jack up the trailer while it's still hot, so as soon as possible, make sure your grease gun is warm, jack up the trailer, spin the tire vigorously while slowly pumping grease in. So here's the diagram above. So the grease can go through the center of the spindle, come out the back, go through the back bearing, repack the back bearing. See if we can get this on there. Repack this rear bearing, come through the inside of the spindle, then repack the front bearing, and then put grease out the front. Now, that does work if you do it per those instructions. Does anybody read the axle manual? No. Does anybody do it per the instructions? No. What they do is they put a grease gun, they pop the cap off their dust cap here. So they open this up, and behind door number 1 is a zert, and they put a grease gun on it. And when they fill it, what they're doing, I'll grab you here. So here's a cutaway I made. So as we can see, here's the hole, here's the zert, and so here's the seal that we've cut, here's the race that we've cut. So as we roll this drum, we can see that that hole is now gone. Okay, it's hidden between the rear seal and that bearing. So what happens, you guess it, is that as you pump cold grease, it comes out and it blows the rear seal. So let's take a look at that seal by itself. So this is a double lip seal. So it's got 1 lip and 2 lips to prevent grease. And it sits on this part of the spindle right here. Now we can see that hole. So when this seal goes on, the seal pushes on just past that hole inside the drum, and it's got a spring. And that spring holds tension on it. Now, I always tell my customers, it's kind of like making pancakes or waffles, right? You take that cold syrup out of the fridge, and it is stiff. You can't get it to come out of the bottle. You throw it in the microwave for a few seconds, and it just pours out. Well, that's the same thing as the owner's manual is trying to tell you to do. They're wanting to take that trailer and drive it down the road, getting up to operating temperature. They're wanting the grease gun to be warm. What they're doing is they're dropping the viscosity or increasing the viscosity of the grease. They're making it more watery or liquidy so that the grease will run through that bearing, through this open hub right here, through the front or the back side of this bearing, and out the front of the bearing to take the grease out to you. Now, during this whole process, you never inspected the bearings for heat. You never inspected it for grooves. You never inspected it for rust. You never inspected it for damage. You just shoved grease in it. So the process from the start is wrong. There's only one way to to grease your bearings or pack your bearings. That is to remove the bearings, wash them in solvent tank, or brake clean, right? And after they've been cleaned thoroughly, you've inspected them thoroughly, that they're in pristine condition. At that point, you can repack the bearings. Once the bearings are properly packed, they can be reinstalled after the drum has been cleaned, and also the races have been cleaned, and the magnet surface for the drums can be cleaned. We're getting off on a side subject. How can we prevent our grease from getting in our brakes? Right here. You see this little thing? That zert that we were talking about? It unthreads. See? Oh, look at this. It's going to fall right out here. Oh, there it is. It's in my hand. Throw it in the trash can. Get rid of it. All right? That's how we fix the problem. See the dust cap? There's no hole in it. There's no rubber plug because there's no reason that we need to get there anymore. What happens? You see the inside of that cap? That's everybody rolls around and those dust caps, those little black booties, fall off. They fall off or they crack, so water gets in there, debris gets in there, and that goes right into the outer bearing. Now you lose your wheel, or you destroy your bearings, and you're broken down. So throw away your zert, get you a solid metal cap, a little tiny bit of black RTV on that cap seal, and install that. Now you have a waterproof setup for your rig. Now, I've seen videos and all kinds of comments and stuff saying, it's the pressure. Well, my seal still blew and this and that. No, they didn't. Again, we take a look into this cutaway right here. Now, this seal is packed with grease. This bearing is packed with grease. This bearing is packed with grease. And we have a seal. And there's a little bit of grease that is put into the hub. Now people say, whoa, it overpressurizes and the seals are just blowing. And it fills the brakes with grease. You know, here's a picture I'm going to put up here of a brake that's filled with grease. That is more grease than the bearing, the rear bearing, the front bearing, and a little bit of grease that you could put in the hub could hold. So where is the grease coming from? It's coming from a grease gun. And it's coming from this hole. So stop using it. There's only one way to pack a bearing, and that is by hand or in a hand packer device. Wash your bearings and inspect them. We have the brake sitting here. So here's a pretty backing plate. We're not going to get into how brakes work, but this is your magnet. Okay? When that magnet is contacted with grease, that's what makes the trailer stop, is that magnet, is how the brakes are operated, the pads. If you look down here, I have a heavy-duty magnet, and it drags like this back and forth on the drum, and that's what actuates the brakes. If we were to pull that magnet here off the side of the table, I've applied some grease to the table right here. If we set the magnet down, it goes back and forth real easy. Now your voltage on your brake controller is at 7 or at 9, and you're wondering why your brakes don't work. Well, it's because they're on slip and slides. So moral of the story is, throw away your Easy Lube Zert, put it in the trash can, put you on a solid metal cap, pack your bearings the way you're supposed to, and don't let anybody else near your stuff. Okay? Hope this helps. Trying to keep these short, but there's a lot of information to cover. At our shop, I provide an hour-and-a-half free class for every single trailer that we do brakes. We burnish them with our customers. We spend time. We test drive their vehicles with their rigs, show them how to use their brake controllers, and go over all this stuff in depth for free for every single customer that we do brakes and bearings on. So I'm trying to do some videos. People have been asking me for 3 or 4 years. There's just so much information to cover in such a short period. It's hard, but I'm trying. If there's any other questions, you can answer them in the comments. Again, thanks, Chad, any and all. You guys have a good one.